All right, this is gonna be great fun. It's not every day you have the opportunity to interview one of your sort of best friends,
No.
Hans Andersson from Wihlborgs.
I'm glad to be on your show.
Yeah, yes. This is sort of it's kind of a big talk show now. This is it's gonna be episode, I don't know which one, but something like 30, and we are almost running on the last energy we have. But this week it's gonna be The Office. And Hans, you are responsible for I don't know. For us, you have always been the customer relations from our landlord, Wihlborgs.
Yeah, actually, the first title I got, like, it wasn't a really LinkedIn title, but the agency we worked with at the time did an ad with me, and I had this card. It said the manager of Arbetsglädje. That was my first informal title. But yeah,
Manager of it's beautiful title. And Arbetsglädje, for it's sort of Arbetsglädje. It's sort of, I don't know what it is in English. How would you say that in English, really? Arbetsglädje.
It's quite when you mention it, I think it's one other country in Europe that have the similar meaning of Arbetsglädje as we have in Sweden. Otherwise, if you translate it to English, it's the work of joy or job satisfaction, but that's more related to the task you do. In Sweden, it's like the word lagom. Yeah. It's just Swedish. We have it. If you talk about Arbetsglädje, then to a Swede, you put in your stuff in it, of course, but you understand more or less what it is. But if you talk to a guy in India or in England or wherever, they sit work, they don't really understand it.
Yeah. So as a manager of Arbetsglädje, and you did they just take that title away from you? Were you fired?
Yeah. Now I'm just like a business developer-ish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm more like a jack of all trade, master of none at Wihlborgs Fastigheter.
But let's go back to Arbetsglädje, job satisfaction, or which is what do you put into it? Because I think it's a great word, and we've been in your sort of facility since 2013, and I think we do feel Arbetsglädje here.
Yeah. It's the experience when you arrive to your workplace. It starts where you park your bicycle or your car or whatever, and you approach the building, what you feel when you get inside, how we choose the materials in the lobby or in your office space, how you create the surroundings in your office space. It's not feelings that we work with hard facts. It's you should have the right temperature. You should have the settings should be right. Where you have at the office social areas where you can bump into each other. We recommend organization and companies when they move into offices, do like this, think like this. Don't forget about just the space around the coffee machine, because we have evidence that shows that the happiness in the people, it grows if you have unplanned short bump into interaction with other people in your everyday life, both at work and at the grocery store and in your everyday. If you have that, it increases your happiness. So it's all about the small things, but also about the big things in the material in your office, and the temperature and the light, of course, things like that. It all come together and it creates an organization that is healthy, more happy and more productive, and the company goes better. That's our main take on it.
Almost like a 360 view on sort of how you create sort of happiness at work, really. And it's a lot of aspects to it, and it's and attend to the details as well. And I remember when we moved in, I think I told you that a few times. I've held you to that you said you can get anything you want except golden knobs. You can't have that, and you can't have what is that in English? But and sort of an ocean of plastic balls. That's outside the remit. But otherwise, we're probably quite fine.
Yeah, it's true. So we just try to give you our point, our view on it, and what we are better at providing for you, and some things you are better to put into your office.
But I think it's, in a way, I think it's a little bit from you as a landlord, actually providing a big degree of freedom and also flexibility from your part, which I really enjoy. I stayed away from this ocean of plastic balls, and we didn't have any sort of golden knobs, but there were a few things that we did put in place. We are here at Media Evolution, and we have the entire 4th floor. It's about 1,100 square meters, and one of the things that I really, because we have the whole Media Evolution is a co-working space, and we have the entire 4th floor, and we have created a little bit of a co-working space in a miniature here. Because we don't need 1,100 for Crunchfish. We sort of occupy about I would say what is it? A third of the floor is Crunchfish, and then we have a sort of third of the floor is sort of common area, and then we have the other third we sublet. But that wouldn't be an easy thing to do because we are not really in the landlord space. But what you agreed to us, I don't know if you remember, but it was really quite generous that if someone of our who's subletting of us, if they move out, we simply lock their part. And we don't pay rent for that. But we are also suffering because we're not having anyone who shares the common area. So we work together, and I don't think many landlords maybe have bought into that idea, because we obviously sit with the entire contract, but you being flexible, that if someone moves out, then we work together to try to fill that slot. And that was, I think, I really want to thanks for that, Hans. That was generous, and that meant that we could take the entire floor and help you in a way to get all the floor rented out. I think that was a cool thing, actually.
I think that's one thing that we learned from all this, the pandemic now, is that you have, in our case, we are like a property developer in the region, in Öresund region. That's our 100% of our focus is on Helsingborg, Lund, Malmö, and Copenhagen. And we have about 2,000 tenants here. And when all this is over, we expect an increase in demand of flexibility. And we, and as a small answer to your statement there, is that we are a very long-term business here. We have been here for like almost 100 years, and we are planning to be here a couple of 100 years more. And if the business is good in the region, like companies like Crunchfish, and you are growing and you're healthy and you employ people, well, they need office spaces. So that's why we work together, and we try to be a facilitator for, we try to work with Lund's University, Campus Helsingborg to find, to increase their possibility to draw talents to the cities, to the region, because we know in the long term, we all benefit from it. The cities, Helsingborg, Malmö, benefits from being a whole city that works, can draw talents, and you have good university here, and they have a stable näringsliv.
So business community. I remember one thing that I like that. I think you had a slogan before that, which is a little bit coming from Pippi Longstocking, this sort of Swedish sort of character. If you are strong, you have to be kind. And it's nice, and it's that goes, that is Pippi Longstocking, and people in Sweden would know Bamse is another sort of character he was sort of a bear, and he had his sort of super honey, and then he became extremely strong. But he always emphasized that if you are that strong, you have to be really nice. And it's also, I think it has biblical implications as well. That story is even in the Bible, that if you're strong, then you have to be kind to people. And I think you, as a leading sort of facility provider here in our region, that you are taking that role and understanding that it's not just about making profits, but being flexible and helping the whole ecosystem. Because I know that you sponsor a lot of good things as well, and you're really quite an active player in the community, which is great.
And as you say, it's a long-term commitment we have in the region, and we really like, for instance, your hometown, Helsingborg. In my role, as I said, manager of Arbetsglädje, I'm very much focused on the business here and the collaboration with companies and different organizations. And nowadays, I'm quite focused, and not like 50% of my time, I work with social innovation collaboration. And in Helsingborg, we are at the moment preparing for a program for kids, youngsters, that both after the pandemic, we have seen, during the pandemic, we have seen that many youngsters, they have lost their faith in the future. And it's no point to educate yourself, it's no point of making contact and work hard and leave the school with good grades. Because why? Because I don't get a job anyway. So we have tried to put together in Helsingborg with Campus Helsingborg, Helsingborg's Hem, Hedge, the innovation tech hub there, to create a program so we can find youngsters in Helsingborg having a bit difficult time. They don't have the network, they don't have the ambition, the motivation. So we try to maybe to give them mentors and to give them skills like coding, programming, easy, so they can so we can maybe inspire them to create business or to go to campus or just finish school. And so that's what we think that's good for the long term from Helsingborg.
It reminds me, in South Africa, Don Olofsson, I'm sure he's also a tenant of yours with some of his businesses, but he founded Star for Life, because when he came to South Africa, he realized that there was only old people and it was really young people, but a lot of the my age generation, or sort of a mid-range generation, has died out of HIV, AIDS, and the problem was that it was so widespread that you will die anyway. So they didn't have to have safe sex because you will die. There's no hope, and if hope goes away, then you don't have to care, because there's no meaning anyway. And it's quite similar to what you're saying, is that if you have a young generation growing up and feeling that there's no hope, it doesn't matter what I do, then they become really very delinquent, that they will not contribute to society, because what's the point? This is not for me anyway. So I think that's an extremely sort of important thing. I know actually there's some of the people, Saiga and Thomas Magnusson, who worked with Don Olofsson for this program, Star for Life in South Africa. They have sort of started a similar program, which is sort of a non-fighting generation, because I think our problem here is it's a similar idea that you need to. We don't have the AIDS problem, but you could still have people who. They feel outside still, which is similar to I think what you're saying here. And I think I love all these because society needs to be a whole. If you alla ska med, everybody has to be on the because the problem if you the alternative is really quite it creates huge problems if you are creating societies which are exclusive. For
segregated, exclusive. We have just this last year in March. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. It's just a coincidence. We formed a new team inside Wihlborgs. It's called Sustainable Business Team, where we try to gather the competence and the skills from and people from different areas. We have the environmental, we have the certification, we have. That actually. One thing that we haven't talked that much about, but over 90% of our collaboration with subcontractors and all things we buy for our, over 90% is from the region, because we support the local business. And we hadn't thought, we only have it has been a strategy, but during the pandemic, everybody's talking about support your, and we over 90%, we're doing a good job here. But we're talking about sustainability in the long term. So it's social sustainability, and that's our role as in the region. We have the economic sustainability, and of course the environment. I can't remember. I have always trying.
What are you looking for?
Environmental sustainability. Yeah.
Sustainability. That's fine. That's fine.
You can cut that away, can you? You could just put a meme over it. But that's our focus, because we don't. If you don't tick all those boxes and you do it, it's not just like a green wash or something like that. You have to walk the talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you know, in the long term, we can build new, really exciting and good properties that you want to move into with your company, because you need it, because you're growing. We want to have the growth in the region, not a decrease. So that's why we have to get involved.
Yeah, no, you are, and I think sort of one thing that you mentioned, it's sort of that it has a lot to do if you move into an office. It's about the technical as well, and something you helped us with, and we're going to talk about that. That's going to be my next interview. It's going to be that we have completely new lights. You can see that behind me here, and this
I can see it. It's like a halo.
Yeah, ooh, yeah. But I'm sort of, in hospitals, they can have rooms. Certainly here in Sweden, where it's quite a dark winter, but people are getting a bit sort of depressed because we don't get enough light.
No.
But at Crunchfish now, thanks to my interview, the guy I got an interview from Brainlit, and also for you, because I managed to convince you to actually foot the bill for it. And then because we're going to talk about health as a service, that I didn't want to pay it up front, this whole new installation, but we got these new lights here, which are biocentric lights, which is, it's
similar to real outdoor light.
You can just imagine if you walk out on a balcony, just going out there, immediately you feel, the whole body responds to that light you're getting if you go outside and there's sunlight, and it's a similar feeling actually to get. This is Arbetsglädje. This is the
Yeah, but it's a quite it's an important part of one element that contribute to the Arbetsglädje. The light really is. Yeah, you feel more productive. You don't go down. You sleep better during the night, and then you come to work next day, and and we try now to put all these things together: the light, the temperature. Do you know that women at the office space, they want like 1 degree warmer than men? Yeah. Small things, but it's quite nice to know. And we try out like censored, maybe you work in all that technology, Bluetooth, and you can be with your telephone, you sit more than like 10 minutes in one workplace, then the temperature and the light adjust to your preferred settings, individual. So it's it happens a lot in our business. So it's
How you mentioned sort of this. We talked a little bit about the COVID and sort of what is coming now in the offices. How would you characterize what's going on right now? How is this affecting the office environment with more flexible workplaces, and what's going to happen? Because there is a big shift actually at the moment, which is as we speak, more or less. How are you looking at it?
And really now at the moment, since last year, we've been talking to our tenants, our big tenants, which have control of the data, and they can follow up and have insights from that. So we have talked a lot with our tenants and clients. We have interviewed people in the business, in the co-working business. What do they see? Like your friend Joachim Jardenberg, Carsten Deppert, and all these guys. And we actually done a survey, a study with one of our tenants, Navet, where we on a larger scale look on how people behave? What do they post on LinkedIn and not like LinkedIn, the social media, Facebook and the company website? What kind of picture and how the Google search history and all that. So it's a shift, yeah. And here in the southern part, many people work from home now. And during the first quarter of the pandemic, when people worked at home, a lot of our big organizations and companies, they said, wow, we have a huge growth in productivity, efficiency. Oh, it's really, yeah, really, really good. Maybe we should keep on doing this.
Close the office.
yeah. But after 3-4 months, they got reports. We have an increase as well in you have bad light, depression, you feel lonely at home, you work too much, you go up in the morning, you have a cup of coffee and a sandwich and you start working. And after 3 or 4 months, those companies who works with creativity, innovation and development, they said, we have to create some form of safe space at the work, at our office, because we need to have those guys back in the office, because there's zero innovation when you in this Zoom Teams meeting. We have quite big companies in Lund that said, you have to make an exception for our innovation teams. So what we can learn and insight from our study, which is artificial intelligence generated insights data, is that we think that the future work office, you come here, you go there for meeting people, for the collaboration, the meetings and the talks, the culture, onboarding of new colleagues, and 1 or 2 days you work from home, or you work at the co-working area office close to your home. That's what we can see now. We don't know really, because we see that what we hear is also that more and more people are really longing to go back to their office, where you have all this, you can have, if you have an office where you can go to different areas doing different tasks, that's the best office space, where you can, if you need concentration, you go to an area where you just sit and concentrate. If you need to collaborate with your colleagues, you go to that area. Then you have the opportunity to choose. I think we see more in the future of not the standard office, which is a bit maybe cold in some way, very business-like, more like a softer,
almost like how a house is created, because you have a living room and you have sort of you have your own rooms, sort of your sleeping room, but it becomes sort of an analogy for sort of different areas that you will go and do different things in, really.
And our study shows that if what you post on Instagram and Facebook as an employee, before it was a lot of with the colleagues, work related. It was colleagues, it was competition, it was after work, it was kickoffs. Now, obviously, because you're at home, but it's much more individual. You post your cat and your dog, is more like that. And in the beginning, when you worked at home, it was like I think it was more like a 900% increase in photos or statements that I'm so busy at now, because you had the feeling when you work at home that your boss doesn't think that you work. So it was a lot of posting about, back-to-back meeting all day. I'm so busy. So but that it calmed down after a while. So because then everyone worked from home, and you saw that, well, you get things done anyway.
I heard one story actually, which was kind of interesting. A company we work with, they closed their office completely up in Stockholm, and people are he said, well, I have a whole house. I can sit in a basement, no problem. I work from here, and but we have in central Stockholm we have sort of people who work in our, I think it was in marketing, and they are a little bit younger generation, and they share apartments, so they can't work from home. And what happened with them? Well, they sit at cafes, and every single one has corona. So I didn't realize. So I think by being too, I think it would have been so much better if they sort of encouraged people to maybe not everybody, not close the office, because I haven't closed it here. We have been 1,100 square meters, and we've been 5 people here. So everybody has 220 square meters per person. So we're well below the norm. But I think offering that flexibility, that the office is also, a little bit of a safe haven. You can go and concentrate even, or right now in the pandemic to do some work, because not everybody has a perfect work environment from home.
No, you live in a flat in the city, and you maybe have 2-3 kids in high school who have to work from home, and your husband or your wife and everything. So it's messy. And then you had we talked about light, air, just a good workspace with a chair. You don't have that.
So I think people will get back problems sitting in the sofa in very sort of bad positions, and
one thing that really both we noticed, but I have enclosed my son Eric, as you know, he graduated last year. He started a new job at ARM in Lund. And everything is done remote, like all the interviews and on board. No, I think maybe he was there a couple of times in the beginning, but there was no one at the office. But now he works from home all the time, and they have meetings, and he haven't met his colleagues or his boss or anyone. And it's quite hard to get into the company, the culture.
I had the same with Tove. She was moving from. She worked at Coca-Cola, my middle daughter, and to Adidas. But they, an international company, closed down. So she I don't know if it went 6 months. She has started. She was working, but she had never ever met a colleague, sort of in physical,
insane.
Which is kind of a weird.
Both the culture thing, because I think that the office space in the future, and you see that in the co-working areas as well. We talked about Mind Park in Helsingborg, Lund, Malmö, and their experience is that company want to be in a community. You want to share both ideas, experiences. You have the energy, but then you want to go into your office space with your logo or your brand and your interior design. But you want to be in the community. So it's I think in the future you will have more like flexible houses with like 24/7 houses where you use them more efficient in different levels. You have this function and there, and you maybe at the top you maybe have some restaurant.
That's we were earlier than we moved in 2013, and the vision I had for this space is that you come in. We are at the penthouse here, which is sort of great. I always applauded you for not charging us twice as high rent for the penthouse floor.
Gave us the idea.
It's a good idea. I know you said I'm going to hold that against you ever. But the way we have it here is that you see I have trees behind me here, and the whole floor is like almost like you come into a garden, and that's sort of an open space which is quite welcoming. To come in here, but then every single tenant we have here, our own office and others, it's almost like the houses that are attached to this sort of garden. So we meet a lot here at the garden area. We have green. We even have sort of tiles here, which is resembling sort of the tiles you have in grass, really. And we have big trees because we have sky windows. So we have 2 big trees here, and it's a lot of that atmosphere.
And actually, when you say it now, it's so that's one of the insights we have from all this computer-generated insight we have, is that one prediction is that in the future, after this, you want to bring more of the nature into your office space, because now when you work from home, it's so easy to go outside, you lunch walk, and you see that on all the Instagram and Facebook posts. Is very much nature and outdoor. So
So next time, Hans, just save the money, come up to us, talk to us, and we'll
we don't need
we'll give you the insights that you
no more artificial intelligence
hey, Hans,
studies.
this
just
is
interview you. Yeah.
when will we go together and cheer for Malmö again? It's been a while.
Yeah, I think the kickoff of this season is the 10th of April, but I don't probably not before summer, but you can choose if you want to go with me to Malmö FF and have a great experience, or we can go to HOIF and have a look at there, because we are one of the facilitator of so they can start women football in HOIF. So you can choose.
Yeah. No, when it comes to women in Helsingborg, I stay with my sort of my club.
Yeah, Eskilsminne.
You know,
I know
with that. But I'm if you have any Champions League game coming up, you know.
Of course we do.
Yeah,
we have them all the time here in Malmö. It's so yeah.
No, that's great, Hans. Thanks for being a good friend, and thanks for sort of being behind us because I think what we have created here is a great office space. We really enjoy being at Media Evolution here, and thanks for not doubling the rent just because we have the penthouse. I appreciate that.
Thanks for bringing life into the house, because it's all about that. You know, you are bringing the life and the energy into the Media Evolution City, and you're the ideal tenant in that way. You're just like the perfect tenant, because you work in innovation, you employ students, you work in a community, you are engaged in different things, and most of all, you are positive and you bring energy and happiness into Media Evolution Cities or wherever you go. So it's a pleasure to have you as a tenant.
Yeah, no, but it's sort of we've been very happy with the Wihlborgs. I think it's I have to give credit also to Magnus Ture, who is sort of head here. When he's the head of the whole community here, and he gave the story about the sort of Media Evolution. That I liked it when he said that the world is digitized to 13%. We're working with the other 87. That's what all the tennis is doing. It was kind of a nice vision, and he described a little bit that openness and that whole vibe about here. And I remember I just sat down and I did this, and he just looked at me. I said, I just had a hallelujah moment. I told. Because what you describe is sort of a fantastic sort of, in a way, environment to be in. So I think he feels I think the whole team around Media Evolution here feels the whole area here with a lot of joy and good stuff. So I think that's also part of it. It's all about not just, as you say, not just about the technical thing like the lights, the temperature, but it's also about the soft things, the details. And I think there's a lot of good things at this place. So we're very happy here. We will probably stay here also another 200 years if you're still around.
Yeah, well, I can do something with the lease if you sign for 200 years. Yes. Maybe we can those golden knobs and tap.
Yeah. Oh, even will I finally get my ocean of plastic balls, sort of ball hop?
Well, we don't do plastic that much now because we are trying to be more like
environmental. Yeah, exactly.
We can do something else.
Kotta.
yeah. Then we don't want to lie in there.
I don't know what that is in English, but I think it's a good place to end the interview on the note of sort of a kotta. No, thanks so much, Hans, for doing this. Thanks for I think it's a great kickoff for the office week. We're going to hear from it's going to be Niklas Olsson on Wednesday, the CEO of Brainlit, and then I'm actually going to talk to Jean. Is a consultant, a leadership consultant, about genius leadership. And it's quite interesting. She has a concept. She's from Ukraine, been in Sweden for 10 years, now lives in Iceland, and I haven't done that interview yet, but she's it's all about sort of also some of the soft things. How do you create that joy of work, sort of?
That's really important, because now we can provide the offices and all that, and we are happy to advise you in the interior design and how you use the area. But one of the major things, of course, is the employer and how you have the culture. And And do you rely on your employees, or do they have to check in at 8 o'clock every day and all that? So the organization and how that's really up, because now during the pandemic, many people have worked from home and they still have to check in at 8, and when they go for lunch, they check out. But that's not how you can't attract new colleagues with that setup anymore. You have to rely on your people and collaborate with them in more. So that's a huge part of the arbetsglädje. It's the culture you grow at your in your office.
She's actually it came out because she I don't know, she contacted me a month ago, and she has actually interviewed me, and that's going to be extra material. That's, you know, we do 36, and then we, in all DVD boxes, there's always extra material, so that we will throw in an interview by me, done by her. On leadership a little bit, and we talk about some of these things, what's sort of important. So that's going to come out. I can announce that now, but I will also interview her a little bit, just to understand a little bit what, because she has a lot of theory and a lot of understanding of the whole space of how do you create sort of a very conducive environment for work, really. So we will talk about job satisfaction for the whole week, I think.
Yeah. Then you have to cut together a best of version.
Yes, we'll do that. Best of. Fantastic. No, thanks so much, Hans. Let's and say hello to Lotta and your lovely family, and let's stay in touch.